Well, hello, busy professionals, and welcome back. We are now on episode 2 of anticipating the workplace new normal post-COVID-19. And this part 2 will have 2 videos. This is video 1, and then I'll do another video following this one immediately. If you don't know me, my name is Gretchen Asher, and I'm a change management consultant, and I've been doing this work for nearly 3 decades. Can't believe it, but I have. Working primarily with Fortune 500 companies. And I've done a ton of leading change management initiatives remotely with large global companies that are implementing projects in other countries, but I do it all from the US. So what I definitely know, without a doubt, is this pandemic is going to be, and it is, one of the biggest change initiatives impacting companies around the world. And a lot of us are finding that we were suddenly working remotely when we weren't planning on doing so. And companies have done a really great job of making that happen in a very short time once, at least for us here in the US, once restrictions, social distancing and restrictions came down the pike in order for us to get ahead of this beast. So in part 2, in this video, in video 1, I talked about some foundational data about the trends, what the research firms are seeing that will likely happen as we ease restrictions and sort of move to a new normal post-pandemic. We are definitely not going back to the old normal. That is, I think, I agree with the experts, and that is forever changed, but we have to figure out what is the new normal. And in part 2, both videos are connected. I want to talk about what's happening to normalize the idea of working remotely, and hopefully a lot of this information will help you as corporate executives really formulate your plans for what are you going to do in your workplace. So I'm sort of dubbing episode 2A and B under the guise of the genie is out of the bottle. And I don't think we can put the genie back in. So this is all about what, there was already a trend for a long time for some kind of work flexibility. And I know a lot of organizations out there, you're already doing that for employees, and it's working well. But for a lot of companies, you haven't been doing this. So we want to look at what's happening around normalizing this as an idea so that you understand some of the data behind it to make informed decisions for your own, what will the new normal look like in your own company once we're able to head that way. So the big question we asked in episode 1 was, could COVID-19 usher in a whole new era of working from home around the globe? And if so, what do companies need to do about it? And this is what this whole series is all about, to go through that information. And personally, I think it's not a matter of could COVID-19 usher in a whole new era of more work hours, location flexibility, but I think it really is a matter of will it, and I believe the answer is yes. And just one statistic I want to remind you, if you didn't see episode 1, go back and watch that. What the data tells us is that we have 60 million workers just in the United States alone who, based on their job function, they are compatible with working from home. So that's a huge implication. But what I want to talk about also in this segment is what's happening to normalize this as an idea where companies previously might not have considered this. But one of the big things that has normalized the idea and the consideration of remote working or having allowing employees to work from home either full-time or part of the week, well, is that we've all been doing it for several weeks, right? Unbeknownst to us, kind of not our choice, but when this pandemic hit, it was all hands on deck at home. So we've now started to have some experience with this if we didn't have experience with it before. So it's largely becoming normalized because we're in it. We're right in it now. Today is May 2nd, 2020, while I'm recording this. So we are deep in it. So this experience is helping to normalize the idea. The question is, how will companies choose to continue some aspect of it, of remote working for their folks, full-time or part-time? And don't forget that I said in episode 1, Owl Labs State of Work for 2019 report already reported that, yes, that's tricky to do. That yes, 80% of their respondents said they did want to work from home or have some of those options. So the drive has already been heading this way. That's no surprise to any of us. But the opportunity, the forced opportunity to work from home has even expanded that normalization of remote work. And don't forget, in episode 1, I did cite that 1/3 of workers across the US, this is just US data only, say that they would be happy to take a 5% pay cut in order to have this flexibility and not have to go into an office every day of the week. So those are pretty strong leading edges for us to consider what would a work from home strategy look like. And I want to share a small piece of data with you that I gleaned in my research. What are the top 4 reasons employees want to be able to work at home? And of course, a biggie, 91% said they want a work from home strategy in their company for better life balance. That's 91% of respondents want it for better life balance. And this reminded me, one of my clients that I've worked with on 5 different projects, my business counterpart, my business partner on the project, we actually did this really beautifully together. She has young kids at home, so she would, when working remotely, she would work during normal working hours and take breaks, for the kiddos. And then she would have dinner with her family, get the kids ready for bed. And I, in the meantime, would be sending her stuff to review and comment on. And then she would put the kids to bed, and she was a bit of a night owl. So she would stay up late and finish all of the things that we were working on together. And then I used to get up at 4:30 in the morning to exercise. I so wish I could do that today. So I would get up really early, and I would have some time before we hit the office to go through what she was working on and comments and things, so that by the time we both hit the office, we had already iterated some of our work from the night before and into the early morning. So people really love that life balance and flexibility of I can pick up and finish my work once the kids go to bed. So that was 91%. Okay, what else are the top reasons? According to the research, 79% of respondents said they experience better productivity and better focus by working from home. 79%. Who doesn't want that for employees? That's awesome. It is so easy to get distracted at the office, but it's also easy to get distracted at home. But 79% said they feel they have better productivity and better focus while they are working remotely. What else? 78% say it contributes to less stress during the day. So 78% of respondents say that they experience less stress during the day when they are working remotely. I'm guessing it has to do with petting the dogs and the cats. Definitely. Also, number 4, 78% say they want to work from home to avoid the commute. So the commute is a big issue of wanting to normalize working from home. And those of us in big cities, I'm near Seattle, lived in San Francisco for a long time, the commute can be brutal for sure. Now, another big driver to normalize the idea and the concept of remote work, working from home, is now the awareness of cost savings that it produces. Previously, before 2008, when we had the downturn of 2008, primarily the reason for offering work from home opportunities to people were really for talent acquisition and talent retention. But because of the downturn in the economy around 2008-ish, what companies have realized is there is a ton of savings that they can experience by allowing remote workers. Organizational leaders have realized that they could do with less real estate. And just this really interesting statistic says, and this is global, not just the US, but based on occupancy studies, 50 to 60% of employees are not at their desk at any given time. That's a huge waste of space and money. Okay, so again, this begs the question, okay, Gretchen, so what? What do I do with this information? Well, at the end of episode 1, I asked executives to take the call of really getting ahead of this, to plan ahead. What is the strategy going to be when we start loosening up the restrictions and we are able to move about freely a little bit more than we are now? We have to be mindful about what is our workplace going to look like. So at the end of episode 1, I recommended that executives get together and talk about what does this mean for our company? What do our employees want? Yes, please survey them. If you haven't already started doing that, please do. What has been their experience around this? What do they want coming out of this? There will no doubt be people who are very fearful of coming back to a workspace, a busy workspace again, for fear of the virus resurging. So now I want you to build on that and continue to ask the question, what does this mean for our company? And also start thinking about, as the executive team gets together to talk about how things will be moving forward, what are the pros and cons of offering a remote work option for employees for whom they have compatible jobs? And what does that look like? What are the pros and cons? Are people interested? Are your people interested in it? Would there be a cost savings for you? Would it be in real estate? Where would it be? And start doing those pros and cons just to weigh the options and find out what your employees want, and then see what all of that looks like. So to find out, what are your employees thinking? How has their experience been while working from home during the pandemic? Do they like it? Do they want it to continue? Are there potentially cost savings for your people, for your company? And what might your company do with any extra savings? Wouldn't that be nice, huh? Okay, this is all for episode 2, part 1. If you have any questions, in the description below, you can find out how to contact me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And in episode 2, part 2 or part B, we're going to look at, okay, if you're going to implement a work from home strategy for employees, either full-time or on a part-time basis, what do leaders and managers need to measure to understand productivity? So we're going to get into that in the next episode. So in the meantime, everybody, stay safe. I am the Change Whisperer.